Hey, Motorman here. And boy, I got a lot to talk about today. But I'm going to start with this. There's a big cold front, I understand, coming across the country. It's going to affect mainly, I guess, north of Florida. You're going to get snow, below zero temperatures, ice freezing, all that. And I feel bad for you. I understand the shelves are empty. But we got a problem here. This coming weekend, it's going to be in the 80s here in Florida. So when I heard that, right away I went out to the store. I got some Gatorade, and that wasn't easy. I had to push some people out of the way. I also got the suntan lotion, and I actually found a tropical shirt because the shelves were empty, let's face it. But anyway, let's get to this because I am really excited about this. Indian Motorcycles has come out with a brand new model. It's called the Indian Chief Vintage. Now, they did have a model called the Indian Chief Vintage, I think Nostalgia, a few years ago, and I always loved the looks of it, but it had a really long wheelbase. I think it was like, 68-inch wheelbase and a 36-degree rake. It was a nice bike to go straight, but for anything else, handling and maneuverability, it was terrible. In 2021, they changed that and put it on the same frame as their other bikes, had a 65-inch wheelbase, 32-degree rake, and it looked exactly the same. And they stopped making it. I don't understand. It was the only Indian model that I'd say I was almost ready to buy. But anyway, they stopped making it. But they came out now with the new Vintage Chief, and I think it's just beautiful. It is really nostalgic. And if you know anything about sort of nostalgic cars, and if you watch the Mecum auctions, you'll see that what people want today, in cars anyway, and I would guess a lot of other things, is the vintage look, but with the modern feel. So cars that are, a 69 Camaro, but it's got a brand new motor and suspension, etc. They're bringing in more money than the actual real 69 Camaro Super Sport, even the ones with the 396 motor and matching numbers. People really today don't care so much about that. So I think this is a great idea. And of course, Harley-Davidson has been doing it for a while with their Icon models, and they were iconic, with the exception of the last one they did, the Fat Boy. I didn't think it was reminiscent of the first 1990 Fat Boy at all, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, they made these models and they did them in limited numbers. I think the last one was only 1,700, charged $5,000 or $6,000 more than the model that it's based on. So Indian has the Chief for quite a while. There's several different models of the Chief. And all they did was take the one they already had, just like Harley had been doing mainly with their Icon models. They took a bike that they already had and they made it look as vintage as possible. And they knocked it out of the ballpark with their styling. I mean, if you look at the 1940s model vintage, or I guess they called it the Chief back then, this bike looks almost exactly like it. They didn't go overboard on the chrome. In fact, there's no chrome on it, and that's because the bike it's based on didn't have chrome. Back in the 40s and 50s, even Harley-Davidson, the chrome wasn't a big deal. So you got the painted tops of the cylinders, looks just like the older bike. Everything else pretty much is blacked out. And for what I understand, it's since it's based on the model, and I've ridden, I think just a few months ago, I rode the Bobber version of the Indian Chief. Real nice bike, very maneuverable, pretty good lean angle, and it's just a nice bike. They started about, I think, $15,000. This particular one would be like their top of the line is $20,000. If you want, it comes in black. If you want red, it's another $500. I think in this case I would go for the red because that's a very nostalgic color for Indian, and that's what I would choose. You could also get, they already have accessories coming out for it. You can get, they call it vinyl saddlebags, and they charge it $1,000 for it. I don't know about that. I think if it was $500, you'd do a lot better. They got windshields, accessories. Everything is already coming out for the bike, and I would imagine, since it's really the same bike they've been making for a few years now, that any accessories that fit those other Chief models will probably fit this one as well. And I think there's some aftermarket support. So the guy who's running Indian right now used to be with Harley-Davidson for, I think, 25 or 26 years. His name is Mike Kennedy. I don't know if this is something that he came up with. I would think so, because he was there when Harley was making the Icon models, and I guess he's doing a great job. At the very least, you want to try something like this. I mean, what does it hurt? It's not like you're redesigning anything. You're just taking a model that you already have and making it look as vintage and as nostalgic as possible. So I think that it's a great idea for Indian. I think this bike will do very well. I think it's priced right. Now, I know if you read the comment section in any of my videos about Harley Davidson, they're always saying, who could afford these bikes? You can get Indian for half the price of a Harley Davidson. Well, that's not true. So $20,000 may sound like a lot of money, and it is for a motorcycle, but it's right in line with the competition. If you look at the Harley Davidson Heritage, they start at 20 grand. That's for the single-seater model, and that's what this bike is, by the way. It's a solo seat on it. So they're right in line with the competition. I think it's going to do very well, and I would hope that they could even come out with some wide white walls. I think that's the only thing missing on this bike is the wide white wall tires. And they may not have had that in the 40s and 50s, but I think they did. So, Indian, if you're listening, I would love to get a hold of one of those new vintage bikes. I'd like to take it for at least a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and do a long-term test on it. But anyway, congratulations. I think you'll do very well with this motorcycle. And please, folks, take a look at this bike. It's on their website. It's on YouTube. I'm going to show you some scenes from their website. Great-looking motorcycle. I think it's priced right for what it is. And I don't see how you could possibly lose. It's not like they had to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in R&D to get this model. They just took what they already had and they added things to it to make it look as vintage as possible, and they did a great job with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't freeze your ass off up north. Make sure you got a generator or some way in case your electricity goes out to stay warm. I got my Gatorade, my tropical shirt. I got the suntan lotion. So here in Florida, I'm ready for it. By the way, I got 3 openings for Sunday's class. So go to ridelikeapro.com and sign up. And you should also take a look at my new YouTube channel, Muscle Cars Old and New. I've got probably 10 or 15 videos up there. I just did a thing about the Mecum auction over in Kissimmee, Florida, to show you some wonderful cars. If you're into classic cars and muscle cars, check out Motorman's Muscle Cars Old and New. Subscribe, comment below, let me know what you think about this bike. Thanks for watching.